everyone, and welcome back to my channel. You can call me Twinkle, call me SheIsTwinkle, or call me Antoinette. Either way, I'm here to give you my take on Love is Blind. This is season 5, episode 7 and 8. So let me just go ahead and start off where the episode starts. Unfortunately, it's with Uche, and Aaliyah. Just when we thought we were done seeing them, they are back at it again. So we see them sitting in a restaurant. Aaliyah looks very different from the pods. She has her beautiful natural hair. Her curls are popping. I'm here for it. I love that look on her. But she's looking a little concerned because then we have Uche and he has a serious look on his face. She says that she regrets leaving him. She loves him so much. She doesn't have that same connection with anybody else. He is the man for her. You can tell that he's happy to hear this because the ball is kind of in his court at this point, but he has to pour salt in the wound. So he basically just wants to rehash things all over again. Aaliyah explains to him, once again, it was Lydia. She actually said something alluding to the fact that she knew that you were going to be on the show. I was confused. I felt bamboozled. I felt as though you guys were in on this together. Maybe you came to the experiment together. You pretended like you broke up and this was a way to get on TV. And Uche, he is upset. He's not accepting anything that she's giving at this point. He tells her, this is a lot for me, and I wish that you would have just talked to me. I had no idea that this was going on with Lydia. Now, from my perspective, I personally feel like if he was serious about his relationship with her, he should have forewarned her the moment he started getting serious with her in the pods. From a woman's point of view, you don't want somebody else to hit you with information that your man should have told you. So he's saying, why didn't you tell me? But why didn't you give her forewarning? He's also not taking any accountability. But what he does take out the time to do at this point is paint Lydia as a complete stalker. He pulls out the receipts, but let's get back to him and Aaliyah. She wants to be with him. What is he going to do now? He's questioning her staying power. I don't like siding with Uche in anything, really. But he said something interesting that caught me off guard. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about it. He said that once he left the pods, Aaliyah followed him on Instagram. Then she unfollowed him. Then she left him a voicemail, but then she blocked him. And then he was blocked on Instagram. And he couldn't get in touch with her for 48 hours. And he had to keep checking her Instagram until she unblocked him again. And then he was able to send her a message. And apparently this is how they met up. So he was confused by that. I'm also very confused. But the fact of the matter is, you said that you never wanted to see her or speak to her again, but then you kept checking her page continuously, like a stalker that you claim that Lydia is, and you waited for her to unblock you, and then now you've reached out to her. I think that y'all kind of like drama at this point because both of y'all are kind of moving a little weird. Why the following and unfollowing and the I don't want to be with you and I don't trust you and I think you're with Lydia, but now it's I love you. Where do we go from here? I just think that nobody is being clear. Be clear, because at this point, you don't know who's telling the truth between him and Lydia, and you don't know exactly how Aaliyah feels because she's unsure of how she feels. They have stressed me out, and I have to get off of this couple. They ended by him saying, no, I can't do this with you anymore. I think it's over between us. Like I said, Uche likes to close the doors on his relationships. Now, I had to take a deep breath because I'm about to talk about Izzy and Stacy. Izzy is now bringing Stacy to his apartment. She said that it looks very Hobby Lobby-ish in there, meaning that he does have some decorations. It's not as plain as Milton's, but Izzy, he keeps it up pretty nice. Stacy is snooping through things in there, really looking through the details. What she does run into, which was a major turnoff of hers, was his nightstand. That's where the condoms were, but there was also a lost and found drawer in there. The second major turnoff was in his kitchen. Now remember, Stacy's kitchen, very nice, high quality. All of her silverware is the exact same. She has nice wine glasses. Now she goes into Izzy's kitchen because she's comparing it to hers, and he has nothing but plasticware. She said, "Are you kidding me? Would you really serve me on plasticware?" She's not respecting him for who he is. And then she's not looking at it from the point of view of, okay, this is what you were accustomed to, but I wasn't here. So I'm going to put a feminine touch on this. I am going to bring more value to your standard of living. For some reason, she started knocking plasticware altogether. She said she's never had red Solo cups in her house. She does not have plasticware. That's where the bouginess starts to kick in, and it starts feeling like she's judgmental, because do not make it seem like you're above plasticware. You've eaten off of plasticware before. So, Stacy, calm down. He basically told her, look, I did not move my lost and found. I didn't run out and get a bunch of dishes. I didn't change anything. I wanted to show you the most authentic version of me and how I live. So her response was, okay, so basically you wanted to show me that you're an F-boy. That's what I'm gathering from this. You purposely left the things here to show me that you're an F-boy. Now, I don't think that he's an F-boy in the sense of the plasticware. But when it comes to the lost and found drawer, I do understand that, because I could only imagine somebody sifting through a drawer to see whether this earring belongs to them or belongs to the girl from the night before. What are you doing? How are you living out here? If you're cycling through girls, I also need to know that. Like, is this going to be a problem? Are they going to be shocked at the fact that you're engaged now? Are you looking to give them back their belongings? Just throw it away. Some things aren't worth the argument. It isn't even worth keeping. Just get rid of that. From that perspective of an F-boy, I do understand it. Everything else, I'm starting to agree with Izzy, because Izzy just straight up tells her, look, I think you're being materialistic. That is the perfect word to describe her when it comes to this plasticware situation. Let him grow, or show him a different standard of life. She is very frustrated. You can tell that she doesn't like confrontation at all. She gets frustrated that he called her materialistic, and she just walks away. She says, I'm done with this, goes outside, and she's literally crying. Now that we see her in a situation of conflict, especially with a significant other, we see that she doesn't handle it well. He went outside, and despite her judging him, he knew that their relationship was what was most important. He immediately comforts her. He literally bear hugs her from behind, and that gives her this sense of security. It's hard right now, but we're going to get through this, and I'm holding on to you. So I loved that. I respected it. There are 15 days left until the weddings. We're getting timelines throughout all of these episodes. So, time to meet Lydia's family. Lydia's family consists of her mother and her brother. And the camera takes us to a restaurant. Lydia Sr., y'all heard me correctly, is Lydia's mom. Ironically, they are exactly the same personality. They're both bossy, assertive, they're emotional, they're loving, all of that. A lot of people, especially on social media, were shocked at the fact that her mother was Lydia Sr. and she named her daughter after her. And they were confused, and they said, of course she would do that. Now, I wasn't confused, because I myself, my real name is not Twinkle. My real name is Antoinette, and I'm actually named after my mother as well. I've gotten a lot of flack for that over the years. What, are you a junior? No, I was not a junior. I was the second. My mother did not put a senior on the end of her name. That's different. I've never seen a woman put senior on their name. The first doesn't have to actually put anything. They don't have to put the first. They don't have to put senior. They just are who they are. And everybody that comes after them, they can be a junior or the second. Then it's the third, fourth, and so on and so forth. Now, for a woman, it's a little confusing, because yes, Lydia is technically the second. I was the second. But once I got married, then it drops off. So we have the same first and middle name, but now my last name is different. Whereas if it's a male, even if they were to get married, the last name stays on there. Just had to say that little tidbit. But this family meetup went really well. There was a language barrier. So sometimes when Lydia's mother would talk, because English is not her first language, it was easier for her to speak in Spanish, and then the brother would translate for Milton. Lydia's mom immediately asked Milton, so how many kids do you have? And she must have noticed the confused look on his face, because I was looking confused at home. Are you asking him this because he's a Black male? I understand if he was older and you're assuming maybe he already has kids, but he is not anybody's baby's daddy, okay? But she quickly changed her question and said, how many kids do you want? So Milton says he wants 3 kids, a minimum of 2 kids. The brother asks, like, do you know any Spanish? Milton says, I just know me gusta and no me gusta. I like and I don't like. Then Lydia starts speaking up and she said, yes, I told him when we have kids, our kids are going to be bilingual. And when they're at home, they only speak Spanish. How is that going to work? Milton just said the only Spanish words he really knows is me gusta and no me gusta. Then you said you told Milton. The brother pointed that out as well, too. He said, you told him? Y'all didn't talk about it? She said, no, I told him. Bossy, demanding. You told him that your kids are going to be bilingual. Totally understandable because you're bilingual. They're going to have to speak to your family as well. That's important. But why would you say they're only going to speak Spanish at home? Because their dad doesn't speak Spanish. He speaks English. So he won't understand what's going on, and they need to be comfortable speaking to him as well, too. I understand if they have to speak it more often or you'll forget it, but I think that it should be a mix. If you want to speak to them in Spanish, great, but I think that they should also speak English at home. Milton has a family as well. They need to be able to communicate with his family, and she has not met Milton's family at this point, but I'm going to put a pin in that. Anywho, they told him they accept them into their families, and that was easy enough. But will it be that easy with Milton's family? We don't know, but it is time to meet Stacy's family. Stacy's family, all of them have type A personalities. All of them have questions and opinions. They're talking to Izzy, and Izzy feels like he's in another world because they're talking about their trips to France and how one of the suitcases was just shoes only. That is not a cheap ticket. So obviously you're traveling all over the world. They see her ring and they absolutely love her ring. Stacy said, I told Izzy, give me a band or a boulder. Bam, there it go. Like, she didn't say bam, there it go. I said it, but they loved it. Now, Izzy is very lucky because this is a nice band, but as we know, Love is Blind pays for the band. But whatever the case, they are very shocked that she even wants to get married to begin with because this was never a desire of hers before. They are even more shocked that he just got a passport. Mind you, they mentioned that Stacy travels all the time, so they're questioning him about his job security. How secure are you in your career? Because Stacy likes to travel, and that can be expensive, and you need to be able to get up and go. Izzy is probably thinking, I need to win the lottery or rob a bank or something, but he's trying not to show it on his face. So what I didn't like about Stacy is that she took the time to dog Izzy out publicly. Girl, that's your man. Why are you bringing up to your family that he doesn't have silverware and he doesn't have dishes? Izzy is just trying to keep it cool, like it's not a big deal. So Izzy tries to put a positive spin on it. And Izzy says, yeah, but what I love the most about our relationship is that, yes, that was our first big blow up, but we were able to work through it and talk about it. It's not always going to be easy, but we don't give up on each other. Great positive spin. Moving right along, we go outside and we see Izzy and the dad is basically just telling Izzy, look, I understand y'all doing this experiment. Love is blind. Cool. But love also needs to eat. Sometimes love even wants to fly first class. Are you ready for that? Izzy gives him a BS answer and says, I'm in sales and the sky is the limit, so I don't think I'll have a problem at all. He just gives surface level answers that just sound good, but he's not really saying much of anything. So we'll see how this goes. Off of them, then the drama begins. This is when the cast And the rest of the pod squad, all the other members that were also blind dating, this is when they show up. We know that this happens every single season. Interesting enough, Aaliyah was not there, and JP was not there, and Taylor was not there. Weird. I would have loved to see Taylor and JP show up. They didn't have to interact with each other, but just for them to be able to mingle about how everything went down, that would have added a whole nother spin. Netflix really dropped the ball on that one. But back to the topic at hand, the drama continues. So we have Johnie, but we also have Chris. Chris and Johnie are actually together. Yes, you heard me, boyfriend and girlfriend in real life. They met at the airport after filming wrapped up in the pods, and they described it as if it was love at first sight. Chris, like I said, is a good guy. He's there. He's all smiles, sitting by his boo. Other people were excited about it, but Stacy was not excited about it. Apparently, she started hearing things about what Johnie had to say about her relationship. She must have heard it through the grapevine and saying that her and Izzy weren't going to last and they were going to be miserable and all this and that. So Stacy, she specifically said in her confessional that she thinks that Johnie is such a joke. You can tell that there is some tension in the room between those two. But then we see that Izzy and Johnie, they have to chat. Izzy was ready for all of the smoke. So Izzy tells Johnie, I wanted to talk to you because I think that you're sketchy. I heard that you told me and Chris conflicting stories as to why you called things off with him, and I didn't like that. And Johnie says, what are you talking about? Like, what did I say that was different? Netflix played back what she told to Chris. She told Chris that she made a mistake when she chose Izzy because she was repeating the same pattern of picking the guy that was emotionally unavailable. It shows us the flashback of when she talked to Izzy and she told Izzy that she didn't want to make the mistake of choosing the guy that was safe in choosing Chris. I don't think that she was lying, and I don't think that they're conflicting stories. It just pertains to what part of her life she's talking about. When she said that she was choosing people that were emotionally unavailable and she was speaking of Izzy, Izzy was probably more toxic like her ex that had passed away and their relationship didn't work out. Now, when she's saying she didn't choose Chris because he was the safer route, she's also telling the truth because her ex-husband that she never loved was the safer route. So technically, she's not lying. She's just referring to different parts of her life in different relationships. I think that she was trying to explain that when she asked Izzy if he could stop talking so that she could respond to him. But she couldn't get that deep into it like I just did because Izzy kept cutting her off. And he just wanted to demean her and put her down. Izzy, you're not even with her. You were no longer invested in her. You actually don't owe Johnie anything and she doesn't owe you anything. It's not a problem. But Izzy proceeds to tell her, it's not just me. Everybody here was talking about you. Everybody said that you're sketchy as F. And she said, everybody feels that way. I completely disagree with you. That is just not true. He said, yes, everybody does. Even Chris, me and Chris talked about it. I told him that you lied. He told me what you said. He said you was sketchy AF too. And at this point, she understands that he's not even trying to listen to her. She said, I can't have this conversation because you're not even listening to me. You're not trying to talk. I'm leaving. She goes back to her boo thing, Chris, and she tells him everything that was said. He comforts her. He reassures her that everything is all good. Nobody hates you. Just don't pay him any attention. And Johnie is emotional because she said that Izzy told her that Chris thinks that she's sketchy too. And he said that's not true. Chris is very calm. He's not combative at all. He's playing it cool because he realizes that there's people around. He doesn't want them to look weak or unstable in any type of way or add more fuel to the fire and make this situation blow up bigger than it needs to be. So at this point, the messy man, Izzy, goes back to Stacy, his fiance, and he says, yo, I called her out on her stuff. And he is proud, like beating his chest. And his words are slurring. He's obviously drunk. Stacy can see this too. Stacy was a little taken aback. She said, you know what? Don't compare me to this mess. Don't say you're grateful for me now. She shut him down very quick. So then Uche enters the building. Uche needs his own villain music. When Uche enters, it's as if the Joker entered the building. He needs to make an entrance like that. I actually love Joker, the character in Batman. So I actually hate to compare him to Joker, but the Joker is not necessarily a good guy, but the Joker is also very clever, especially with his words, which I can say that Uche is like that as well. And the Joker makes you think. And some of the stuff he's saying, it's bad. You don't want to agree with him, but he is kind of telling the truth at the same time. That is Uche to a T. So he walks in. He's like saying hello to everyone, acting like he's looking around, like, oh, nice couch. Oh, look at the snacks. Oh, hey, Lydia, can I talk to you for a second? He's literally been gathering evidence. He showed all that stuff to Aaliyah on his phone with the Instagram and the screenshots and all of that. And he is now here to present the evidence and state his case. This is why he wants to talk to Lydia. They go off to the side to a little room and he's talking to her. He says in his confessional, he needs an explanation as to why she came to the experiment, especially as to why she came with bad intentions. So he starts off with something positive. He starts reflecting on why he connected with her to begin with, all the good about her, saying good things about her personality and what drew him to her and the things that she used to do that really made him appreciate her. And at one point you see her start to maybe get a little emotional, like, oh, this is all I've been wanting to hear. So then he says, now I want to reflect on the dishonesty that you had. You lied to me. And she immediately speaks up. I did not lie to you. I never lied to you. She's trying to defend herself because he's calling her a liar. He tries to pull out his phone and show her like the Instagram stuff and the text messages. And she's like, are you kidding me? Why are you trying to paint this picture? This is ridiculous. I'm getting up. I'm leaving. I'm done with this. I never want to deal with you. She was so mad. She started yelling. He said, I'm trying to talk to you. Come back. I'm trying to talk to you. Can we just have a conversation? And so she comes back, but she's still yelling. Then Milton makes his way over. Milton's cool, calm, collected. Milton walks over there and comes and sits at the table. Milton is looking at his phone and he's like, okay, well, we have plans in about 10 minutes. So we got 10 minutes. And then he just calmly gets up and walks away. Uche says, okay, Lydia, let me get down to the bottom of this. He continues trying to expose her. Nobody's going to sit there and listen to you bash them and try to paint them as a stalker psychopath on national TV. So she blows up again and she is done with it. She said, no, because you don't want to talk about what the real problem is. The real problem is that you slept with a girl while we were together. And she walks away and she storms off. He's still talking, of course, because he never stops talking. He is a narcissist. He came there with a plan in place and he is going to execute this plan. Somebody is going to hear this story. So Lydia is in her confessional and she is all emotional at this point. And that's how the cliffhanger is left off. Is it done? I don't know. Let's go ahead into episode 8. Episode 8 was titled Love is a Battlefield. This is the same night. The cast and the pod squad all meet and the drama continues. For some reason, we see Uche talking to Milton. Lydia sees it and she sees red. She is furious. She goes and grabs Milton by his hand and pulls him away. He goes to the group and he starts telling them about Lydia and how she's stalking him and how she had bad intentions. Johnie dropped her mouth open because Uche said that Lydia knew that he was going to be there. Stacy is bothered like a mug. Stacy is like, what are you looking at? Why are you looking like that? This had nothing to do with Stacy. Even Izzy, as messy as he is, Izzy was like, hey, Stacy, chill. Stacy, chill. Because we already have Uche upset and he's trying to explain the story. Johnie is naturally reacting to his story. She's not saying anything about Stacy, but Stacy is just mad. You know how when you already don't like somebody, anything they do is going to bother you? Look at her over there breathing and stuff. That's exactly how Stacy was acting. She was mad at the fact that Johnie had a facial expression on her face that wasn't even towards her. Anyways, Uche, He was getting upset because he hears Stacy saying things to Johnie. Johnie is ignoring him, but Stacy just keeps saying things. And Uche is like, hold on, trying to tell my story. Like, you got to be quiet. It's about me right now. He's not saying it's about me, but that's basically what he's saying. He said, I'm talking here. I'm trying to explain. I'm trying to tell you what's going on. You got to listen. You got to listen. Oh my gosh, I'm a narcissist. Look at me. Pay attention to me. It's all about me. Uche show. Remember? Anyways, so he is trying to get his point across. All the girls actually start defending Lydia, and they're saying she's really not like that. She was always really nice. Even when you made Aaliyah cry, Lydia was there to console her. Even after you had tore her down, Aaliyah, and you made her feel horrible. He didn't want to hear none of that. He said, no, but you got to hear it from my point of view. Listen to me, listen to me. Then Miriam starts to insert her opinion. Remember, Miriam is the girl that Uche dated on like the first day. She was very unclear about what her job was, where she lived, and everything. So as soon as Miriam started talking, Uche said, no, Miriam, stop that. You stop. No. You're just jaded and bitter. Just stop. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Like, Uche, don't do that. Uche was like, look, I want to hear from Stacy. Stacy, me and you can have a conversation. I respect your opinion. Miriam, I don't want to hear nothing from you. And what can you tell me? Do you live in Saudi Arabia or do you live here? Do you have a business or do you not have a business? What's your profession? What do you do? You're unclear about everything. Come on. Yeah, he roasted her, but he was saying everything that we were all thinking. Nobody was defending Miriam at that point. It was almost as if you're in the room and you just pretend like you're not there and you just start like eating invisible fake popcorn because you don't want to smile, but you don't want people to see the uneasy look on your face because you want to laugh, but you can't. That's exactly what was happening. Miriam started going off. Oh, no, you're not going to talk to me like that. I'm not Lydia. I am not Aaliyah. Yeah, I went to college. Yeah, you can look it up. Yeah, I live in Texas and Saudi Arabia. Yeah. I thought it was hilarious. It was a moment that I didn't know that I needed, but I needed it. And Uche is the villain, but he's also the Joker right there. It was like perfect timing that he said what he said. I was low key here for it. Milton brings Lydia back in, and Lydia is sitting with the girls, and Johnie had an honest conversation with her. She said, look, Uche is saying all this stuff about you, and I'm going to be honest, he's very convincing. So what happened? And that was really honest of her because none of the other girls are saying it. Lydia is standing on the fact that he is lying and she's not a stalker. Then we get over to Uche's conversation with Milton, and Uche continues to try to expose Lydia. Mind you, you're talking to Lydia's fiance. Milton's very calm. He's just shaking his head like, yeah, okay, yep, probably right. Then Uche says, I don't want this to affect your relationship at all. That's a lie. You're saying it for a reason. What I loved about Milton was very calm in his response, and he's very calculated in what he's saying. Milton says, well, my mother always said that your perception is your reality. You both have very different perceptions, but there are nuances. Things are situational. At this point, you're in an X direction. She's in a Y direction. I am in a Z direction on a different parallel. It's all perception. He knew that he completely confused Uche with that. And how does he respond? Milton is very smart and he's socially adaptable. He knew exactly what to say to stop Uche from ranting in this moment and to shut him down. So then Uche says, okay, I get it. So how is you guys' communication between each other? Oh, I thought you weren't trying to affect his relationship. Whatever. So Milton confirms that me and her are good. Our communication is good, which we know it's not always the greatest. And she nags him a lot, but he's smart enough to not reveal his cards and put their business out there to the person that hates her the most in this situation. Milton leaves the situation and was like, we're good, brother. I'll text you in the group chat. Meaning like, I'm not going to text you at all because why would I text you in the group chat? That's everybody. If I really wanted to connect with you on a one-on-one level, I would just text you directly. Smooth, Milton. Very smooth. Then we got to go to the delusional, messy man, Izzy. Izzy and Chris are chatting because Chris had to stick up for his girl. Chris was calmly talking to Izzy and told him, look, I wanted to address this with you because Johnie is upset. And she said that you told her that I told you that I think that she's sketchy as well. And that's not true. So then Izzy lies and says, I never said that to her. But you did. But Izzy is drunk. Chris calmly says, okay, if you say you didn't say it, you didn't say it, no problem. So then Stacy comes over because she thinks she's getting away from the drama. When she walks up and sits down, she says, oh, shoot, I feel like I walked into some more drama because she heard the topic of conversation. Shortly after, Johnie walks up and Johnie says, is everything okay? I see hands moving around. Just wanted to make sure everything was cool. Then the drama turns it up a notch because Stacy is just mad that Johnie is that close within her presence. And Johnie said, what is the issue with us? Stacy says, I don't like you. And Johnie says, okay, well, Stacy, I think that you're a deceitful person. Why didn't you tell me that Izzy was your number one, that you were dating him? Girl, why do you feel any type of way about that? You're done with Izzy, and she did not owe you any type of explanation. Stacy says the same thing. I didn't owe you any type of explanation. And I'm thinking, Johnie, stop, because you're with Chris now, and he is right there next to you, and he been riding for you despite you making him look crazy several times. Why are you even bringing up Izzy and now saying she's deceitful? That doesn't matter. Stacy said, well, I think you're a person. I don't want to be around you. I don't want anything to do with you. It wasn't even a conversation anymore. It just blew up and skyrocketed. Everybody is emotional, but everybody has been drinking. Izzy leans in to Chris and he daps him up and he says, bro, we're good. We're good. Chris is like, yeah, we're good. I mean, the four of us aren't good, but we're good. Now, Chris, I usually ride for you, but if this man is dogging your girl and made her cry, don't dap him up and say we're good. I don't like that. So Stacy goes over to the rest of the squad and she's trying to talk about Johnie. I'm thinking this girl must have took another shot or something. And so Stacy storms out. Then we see Milton and Lydia. He's hugging her. He said, you're strong. You're smart. You're a great woman. You have a great career. We're good. We're stronger than ever. I love Milton this episode. Kudos to you, Milton. The night is not over. Izzy and Stacy go back to their apartment. They are a drunken mess. You can see them. Both of their eyes are glazed. The emotional roller coaster, it starts up right here. I mean, it was already emotional at the party, but them as a couple, it starts right here. They start gushing over the flowers. Oh, they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. Then he sits on the counter and she sits down. And then they start talking about the whole confrontation that just went down at the party. And now the roller coaster starts going downhill because now they're not happy anymore about the flowers. They are mad about everything that's gone down. But Izzy is saying, I'm so lucky I chose you. I appreciate you so much. I'm just so happy that I chose you. She is a mess. So Stacy is upset because she's saying, I don't like that. Once again, do not compare me to her. No, I want you to love me so much and be appreciative to me more than just in times of conflict. This is a pattern for you. I want you to feel that way about me all the time. Like, what do you do for me? Izzy is confused. What do you mean, what do I do for you? She said, yes, what do you do for me? Really? Because you was all talking the pods. You said you was going to do all this romantic stuff and you cook for me and rub my feet and all that. But tell me, what do you do for me? She's getting some stuff off her chest she been wanting to say. So at this point, Izzy is like, well, I haven't cooked for you, but I mean, I clean for you. I'm adapting to you in the way that you live. I'm patient. I'm kind. I'm understanding. At the same time, I'm trying to manage my emotions because some days I feel like you want me and some days I feel like you don't. I feel like I'm not good enough for you and nothing I ever do is going to be good enough to please you. He's talking and his words are slurred, but he is making a lot of sense. He's revealing his true emotions. She just stared at him. Crickets. No response. She didn't say, no, that's not true. I don't want you to feel that way. I'm not saying you're not good enough. She just didn't respond. But no response is a response. He gets up and he goes to go cry in the closet. We can hear him. This is very different because normally it's the woman going to go cry in the closet. Meanwhile, Stacy, maybe she's emotionally immature. She's mature in other aspects, but maybe she's emotionally immature because she's not paying him no attention. She has no emotional reaction. She goes to the closet and she asks him, "Why are you crying?" Not in a loving way, just confused, like, "Why are you crying?" He says, "I feel like I don't ever meet your expectations. I'm doing my best and I'm over it." He's still crying. The camera shows her walking out of the closet, unaffected, unbothered, not a tear in sight, doesn't even look emotional. I don't know that this is going to work because his emotions mean nothing to her. She doesn't care. She obviously looks at it as a sign of weakness, but I don't think she respects it. Anywho, let's get back to Milton and Lydia. This is the same night. They're talking about everything that went down. Milton said nothing that Uche said affected him. And he jokes about the whole math equation that he explained to Uche because he knew that Uche wouldn't understand it. And they laugh about that. But then Milton says, "I just wish that sometimes you weren't so emotional. Like, next time, can you try to react more like how I would? Just be calm." They agreed that they're both very different, but all that matters is that they love each other. And she came there to find her husband, and that's what she did. And they start kissing, and the scene goes off. Then we get to Stacy's fitness studio. We see Izzy pull up outside, and he's coming to talk to her about their whole blow up from the night before. Although he was the one in the closet crying. Whatever. They talk about things like what they're both expecting from the other person. She's saying, "This is a short process. I want to see more action." So then he gives her a gift. If you look at love languages, I think that she likes acts of service, physical touch, and gifts. Whereas he likes words of affirmation, physical touch, maybe service, but I don't think that's major for him. But whatever the case, his gift, he put a plunger in there and put a cute little love note on it. I didn't think it was great because don't buy me a freaking plunger. But whatever. She thought it was cute. And then he gave her a coupon for Izzy cooking dinner for Stacy while she sits there and looks sexy. And then the third thing he got her was a frame of a picture that they took with him, her, and the two dogs. That actually was thoughtful. At this point, we have 10 days left until the weddings. So they show us a quick scene with Milton and Lydia. Milton, I think, was trying to make some type of like Spanish dish, and it looked nasty to Lydia. She complained about it. She said she's not eating it. Milton was unbothered. He said it looks good. Moving right along to Izzy and Stacy's apartment. Stacy wasn't there yet, but Izzy was there, and he's excited because his mom was at the door. She's coming over to meet Stacy. Izzy is, you could tell he's a mama's boy. He's preparing his mom for Stacy because his mom is still hesitant and iffy about the process because it's a really unconventional way of love and marriage. She just wants to make sure it's real. He is trying to butter Stacy up to his mom, which is total opposite from Stacy literally putting him down in front of her family. Whatever the case, Stacy then shows up. She has a beautiful vase with flowers, and she said, "Hey, this is for you," his mom. And the mom says she's unsure of this process, but she's trying, and she just wants somebody to be with her son that will really stick beside him and will be there for Izzy. Izzy looks emotional just looking at his mom talk, like he wants to cry at the tone of her voice because he's holding on to every word. Stacy says, "Well, there's really not anything I can say to convince you that I am the one, but I do know that we have a good relationship. I like these positive aspects about him. We brought this and that out of each other, and the relationship is going really well. This is a real thing for us." Izzy gets emotional again. Then he says, "Mom, I just want to give you a hug." And his mom is sitting down and he bends down to give her a hug, but then he literally leans over her. He is laying across her, hugging her like he is a little kid with his arms wrapped around her neck. It was the most awkward thing to look at and watch. Like, dang, I know you love your mama, but this is uncomfortable. Like, is this how y'all hug all the time? Like, do y'all kiss on the lips? I'm confused. Whatever. So then we go over to Milton's family. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. Y'all remember, it went great with Lydia's family, meaning her mother and her brother. But Milton's family, oh, they did not come to play. They don't care about the cameras. Lydia showed up, and I don't think she was expecting this. They walk into the house. This is Milton's family's house. It's a very nice home. This family is very well put together. You have the mom, her name is Rita. The dad, his name is James. And then the sister, her name is Jessica. She also has her husband and her 2 kids there. And they walk in. Lydia is all excited, like, oh, so nice to meet you, putting on this little good girl act. Milton goes and sits on the counter again, because this is what he does. And Lydia says he's like sitting on the counter again. I don't understand why he does that. Why don't you just sit in a chair? And his mom said, well, he's tall, so that's why he sits on a counter. You see where he gets his height from. And Milton's dad is extremely tall as well, too. That's where he gets it from. And then they use this time to explain to her, so you call him Milton. Did he tell you his real name? Because his dad's name is James and his name is James. He's named after his dad, so we call him Little James. And Lydia says, oh, okay, great. Yeah, I just called him Milton because that's what he introduced himself to me as in the pods. Great. They don't have a lot of smiles. Milton's mom asked Lydia, okay, so what is your last name again? What was that? Lydia, what? And Lydia tells her last name. Then the sister says yes, because she's going to Google you and background check you. She will know everything about you before you leave here. And the mom didn't crack a smile. Lydia said, okay. She started giving her background, where she went to school, where she got her degree, what she got her degree in. Rita, his mom, said, okay, yes, I love to see another woman in stem cells. That is great. But she's still not impressed. And Lydia is still trying to be pleasant, bubbly, and happy and all that. She's obviously not reading the room. And Milton is just sitting on the counter over to the side. Rita says, just curious, why would someone who is 30 be interested in a 24-year-old? Lydia said, I've dated a lot of different men my age and older than me. And honestly, age has nothing to do with it. I love Milton because of his level of maturity and his personality. That's all that matters to me. They said, okay, so what don't you like about Milton? That was a curveball. So Lydia says, well, there's a lot I love about him, but what I don't like is that, like, sometimes he leaves things around the house. I think it's just kind of like laziness. And she said, So then his mom is like, I think that could change. Then they ask her, do you have any reservations about getting married at all? And she said, no, I'm just very comfortable with him. I just feel so blessed that me and Milton found each other. And it's like, wow, my prayers are being answered. I don't have any reservations at all. So then the sister is getting sick of this. She goes and talks to Milton, but she's loud. She said, why do you want to get married? Do you even want to get married? Because I've never even heard you talk about that. The sister's husband tried to chime in and said, oh, no, me and Milton have talked about it before. Then Milton tells his sister, like, chill out. She said, no, but why do you want to get married? You can tell that Lydia is listening while she's trying to pay attention to the mom at the same time. So then Lydia says, oh, did you answer her question? I didn't hear your answer to that, Milton, because Lydia also wants to know. She's trying to play it cool and turn down her bossy meter, but she want to know as well. So then the sister said, I just think this is phony. I'm sorry. I think the whole thing is phony. The sister is not playing. I don't care about these cameras and y'all storyline. This is real life. I think it's phony. So the mom and the sister asked to talk to Lydia alone, separately. They said, Milton, are you okay with that? Lydia, are you okay with it? Lydia said, sure. I said, Lydia, okay. They've shown you who they are. Why don't you be yourself? Lydia is trying to present herself like very nice and like, I want to say the right thing. I have to impress these people. So when they get her by themselves, the mother straight up says, you are scripted. You know a lot of the right answers. Everything sounds scripted. Lydia then continues to try to convince her that she's 100% here for Milton. None of this is scripted. This is who I am. This is who I am. I did not like that about Lydia because that's not who you are. You don't have to turn up and be disrespectful, but you don't have to just mute your personality altogether. I think that they would have respected Lydia more if she showed her more assertive, dominant personality and said, look, I already know when I first met him, he was like very young. I questioned it, but through our conversation and then through his education and schooling, and I see why he is as mature as he is in life. He can keep up with me. This is who I am. I know I can be very bossy, and Milton challenges me, and I like and hate that at the same time, but I think that's what I need. If she would have been 100% like that, they would have respected that, because there's aspects of her personality that is also similar to their personality. Milton is used to that. She should have just been herself. But the mom then sticks up for Milton and says, I can see him maturing. His sister might not see it, but my son, he's doing better and better. So maybe he is ready for this marriage thing. And Lydia can tell that the sister Jessica is not here for her. So Lydia straight up asked her, what is your biggest concern about our relationship? So the sister, she does not hold back. She straight up said, marriage is big. Marriage is real. It's major. I don't know. I don't hear it. I don't see it in him. I know James, speaking of Milton, and I don't see it. I'm waiting for James to give me that surety. When I feel it, I'll feel it. But right now, I ain't feeling it. Episode comes to an end. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in to this review with me. I will be back for a review of Love is Blind episode 9 and 10 when 10 comes out. But thank you so much for sticking along for the ride. Yeah, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. I'm all out of words. I gotta get out of here. Peace out. Bye.